Welcome to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today because we're looking at something truly fundamental. We're diving into the ultimate biological blueprint. Have you ever actually stopped to think about how your body, or say a towering redwood tree or a cheetah sprinting across the savannah, how it actually functions? To really wrap our heads around it, it helps to imagine a living body not just as a single thing, but as a massive, highly coordinated global corporation. We're going to zoom all the way out, starting from the individual microscopic workers on the factory floor, all the way up to the sprawling, hyper-efficient global enterprise they create together. It's an incredible journey of organization, and hey, it's happening inside you right this very second.
Here is our clear roadmap for today's explainer. First, we'll look at the hierarchy of life. Second, how plants build tissues. Third, the 4 animal tissues. Fourth, the musculoskeletal system. And finally, joints and movement. We're going to build our understanding block by block.
Okay, let's dive into this with Section 1, the hierarchy of life.
Think of this as the ultimate corporate ladder. Biologically speaking, every single multicellular organism follows this strict hierarchy. We start at step 1 with cells. These are your individual workers. But, a single worker can't build an entire car all by themselves, right? So they group together in step 2 to form tissues. Then multiple tissues combine in step 3 to build organs, like your heart or your lungs. These organs link up in step 4 to create organ systems, like your circulatory system. And finally, the whole shebang, all those systems working in perfect harmony, gives us step 5, the complete organism. By organizing this way, life establishes a brilliant division of labor that dramatically increases biological efficiency.
So, let's lock this core concept in. A tissue is defined as a group of similar cells performing a specific function. If cells are the individual workers, tissues are the specialized departments. You've got your accounting department, your marketing team, shipping and receiving. This right here is where the real, focused work of life begins. By having specific cells focus exclusively on just one job, the entire organism runs like a completely well-oiled machine. Moving right along to Section 2, how plants build tissues. Let's see how our leafy friends handle things.
Plants are honestly brilliant architects. On one hand, we have meristematic tissue. Think of these as the ultimate multitaskers. They divide continuously to make the plant grow taller at the roots and shoots, wider in girth, and they even allow grass to regrow after you cut it. They have super thin walls and dense cytoplasm. They are basically always ready for action. But on the other hand, we have permanent tissue. These are the cells that have essentially graduated. They lose that ability to divide and instead specialize permanently to keep the plant alive. You've got simple permanent tissues like parenchyma for photosynthesis and storage, collenchyma for flexibility, and sclerenchyma, which is actually made of dead cells to provide really hard structural support. Then you have complex tissues, specifically the xylem to transport water and minerals way up from the roots, and phloem to transport food throughout the plant. It's this massive, coordinated effort between constant growth and permanent specialization.
Now, all these specialized tissues group together into 3 massive plant-wide networks. You have the dermal system, acting as the plant's skin to protect it from the outside world using the epidermis, cuticle, and stomata. Then there's the ground system, acting almost like a skeleton for support and a giant warehouse for storage. And finally, the vascular system, that xylem and phloem we just talked about, acting as the plant's internal plumbing. Skin, skeleton, and plumbing, all perfectly built from specialized tissue.
But you might be wondering, why are plants built this way? Well, plants are essentially stationary fortresses. They stay in one place, so their absolute biological imperative is rigid support to grow tall toward the sun and vertical transport to pull water up from deep underground. Animals, on the flip side, are mobile machines. We need rapid movement and instantaneous sensory response just to survive. The biological why here is pretty simple. You literally don't need muscles or a rapid-fire brain if you never actually go for a walk.
Which brings us perfectly to Section 3, the 4 animal tissues. Let's zoom our lens over to the animal kingdom.
4. Just 4. That is an absolutely astonishing number when you really think about it. Despite all of our incredible, mind-boggling complexity, every single animal, including you and me, is built from primarily just 4 main types of tissue. Let's break them down.
First up, we have epithelial tissue. Think of this as your body's outer shield and inner lining. It covers your body and internal organs, handling crucial jobs like protection, absorption, secretion, and exchange. We're talking your skin, your lungs, your intestines, your glands. Next up is nervous tissue. This is your rapid-fire communication network. It's made entirely of neurons, transmitting lightning-fast signals between your brain and the rest of your body, controlling every single activity.
shielding and signaling, two absolutely vital pieces of the puzzle.
The third type is connective tissue, and the sheer variety here is mind-blowing. We have liquid blood for transport, solid bone providing strength and support, flexible cartilage, tendons linking muscles to bones, and ligaments tying bones to other bones. Think about that for a second. Liquid blood and rock-hard bone are actually in the exact same biological family because their fundamental job is the same. They both connect and support the structures of the body. Pretty wild, right?
And our fourth type is muscular tissue. This is the physical engine of the mobile machine, but we got different engines for different jobs. We have skeletal muscles, which you control voluntarily to walk or wave your hand. We have smooth muscles working completely behind the scenes, involuntarily moving food through your intestines and organs. And we have cardiac muscles. Amazingly, this specialized tissue in your heart beats around 100,000 times a day, continuously and rhythmically without ever getting tired, just to keep you alive.
Now, what's really interesting about this next slide is section 4, the musculoskeletal system. Let's see how this all comes together.
Let me pose a question that might seem obvious at first, but is biologically profound. If our bones are completely hard and rigid, made of that tough connective tissue, how is it possible that we can actually dance, run, or type on a keyboard?
To answer that, we have to look at the skeleton not just as a rigid frame, but as a dynamic, protective vault. Your skeletal system features key components like the skull, the rib cage, which shields your vital heart and lungs, and the backbone. But here's the kicker. The backbone isn't one solid pipe of bone. It's actually made of individual vertebrae stacked with specialized cartilage discs in between them. That cartilage gives our backbone its necessary flex. But flexibility alone isn't quite enough to create motion.
That brings us to our final stop, section 5, joints and movement.
We have different types of joints for entirely different mechanical needs. Let's do a little experiment right now, wherever you are. Go ahead and roll your neck in a circle. That's your pivot joint allowing for rotation. Okay, now bend your elbow up and down. That's your hinge joint, restricting movement to just one safe direction. Now, swing your arm around from your shoulder. That's the ball and socket joint giving you that full multi-directional movement. And finally, give the top of your head a little tap. Your skull is made of plates fused together by fixed joints, offering maximum protection with absolutely zero movement. Your muscular tissue pulls on these beautifully designed connective joints, told exactly when to fire by your nervous tissue. I mean, it is an absolute masterpiece of coordination.
Tying this all back to our original factory analogy, none of this incredible movement, none of this complexity is possible without that initial division of labor. Life becomes efficient only when cells specialize. That one single concept is the entire foundation for everything we are able to do.
And I want to leave you with this really powerful insight direct from our source material today. This specialization is what allows plants to grow tall and animals to move, sense, and respond effectively. Every single time you take a step, marvel at the millions of specialized little workers dictating your reality. It really makes you wonder, if microscopic cells can coordinate with such perfect, selfless efficiency, what could that blueprint teach us about optimizing our own societies? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Stay curious and keep learning.